Hi everybody, this is Clarine from In Rini's room, and today we're going to make a Lego Pad Folio. And here's what the front looks like. And you open up the flap, and inside is your Lego pad for your notes and whatnot. Off to the side, we're going to have a little pocket, and you can put things in there. We're also going to make a couple of these little tags, and I just slid in some of the extra ephemera that I had, just tucked it in there. So that's a handy little place to have. And then you just fold it up, and there's the back. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to need two things to make the base. This is the one piece that is going to be 8.5 by 11, and then you'll cut a second piece that is 8.5 by 8. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 1/4 inch score tape, and we'll start with the back side. Oops, first you got to score. Sorry. Okay, on the 8 inch, 8 by 8.5, with your 8 inch side up in your score pad, you're going to score at 6 and 6 1/4. And then you're going to put your valley side down and fold and burnish. And remember, when you're folding something that's long like this, you want to start your fold in the middle. That way you can get a nice even crease, and then work your way out. And then I'll burnish that real good because this is going to be doing some folding. And I'll push the other side and burnish that. Set that over here. And then on your longer piece with the 11 at the top, you're going to score at 3, 9, and 9 1/4. And same thing, you put the valley side down, fold, burnish, and then we'll get that other one starting in the middle. Work your way out. And go like that. And then this is the right side of your folio, and over here is the left side. So we're going to fold and burnish that as well. Bring that back over here. And then I'm going to make that a flap by just putting a single run of glue right along that edge, just on that little 3 inch side there. Actually, I think it's 2 3/4, but I'm just going to put a little edge on there. And hold that down. Give that just a little time to grab on. While that's drying, we're going to go over here to the right side, and on the score line that's on the right is where we're going to run a strip of the 1/4 inch score tape. Now you don't want to be on the score line, you want to be just on the outside of it. Run it all the way down because you want to be able to fold that. And we're also going to put a strip on this outer edge, just to help hold that flap. Burnish your tape. And I got a little extra over the edge, so I'm just going to trim that off. And a tiny piece there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this smaller piece and make sure this is The glue is sticking, which seems to be. Okay, so what we're going to do is, with the score lines on your right, you're going to put this edge right where that first line of score taping is. Just going to cover it like that, making sure that you don't overlap into that score line that's on the base. So I'm going to pull this one. I'm not pulling the second one yet because I don't want it to get in the way of me lining this up. So I'm going to line that up. And right like that. And then I'll burnish so the tape picks up. Now we can take that other section off. And it's just going to hold this in position. I didn't want it to be loose later on. And we'll just burnish that. Okay. So there's the base. Now this side up here is going to be the right flap. And I'm going to go ahead and decorate that one now too. So what you're going to need from a pattern paper is 2 pieces that are 1.5 by 8 1/4. And that's for this one for each side. And they're going to go right on here. And I wanted to fancy that up a little bit. So this is called a crop-a-dial, and it's a handy little tool. It is going to give us kind of a little scalloped edge on that corner. So I'm going to do a test run first because sometimes I put the wrong side in. So these open up and then you just slide your paper in there and see that's, it didn't cut white. Oh, look at that, confetti time. I got too many pieces in there. Okay, well that was fun. All right, so what I'm going to do is make sure that I put the corner all the way in and push down, and then I have that little edge that I like. And we're going to do that right here on this right side flap. So I'll put that in all the way, make sure the edges are lined up in this V. And I'll do it over here. Okay. Now we're going to be putting one piece on this side and one over here. So I want to clip those edges as well. And with these crocodiles, you can put a lot of layers in here. So I can do these two at the same time. And I'm just lining it up. And over here. There we go. And then we're just gonna glue this in place. I'm actually going to use my runner, so I'll be using a lot of runner tape because if you're doing a lot of long pieces, sometimes it can get pretty lumpy if you use glue, which isn't bad if you have the patience to keep it thin. But I'm going to use my tape runner, and I'm just centering that in there. And before I press it down, make sure that's lined up. And yes, it is. I'll put that on there. This is going to be the other side. And if you'll notice, the other side of this paper is kind of wild. A lot of yellow in it. And that's going to be perfect for what our next step is going to be. So I'm going to put this piece on here. And before I press it down, I'm going to just lay it there lightly so that everybody's in the middle. Okay, burnish it down. Okay, now the other side of that paper that I used here, this was the bright yellows, and those are going to come in handy. Oops, I'm missing a strip. There it is. I thought I left a strip. All right, so what I have done is these are going to be the little pieces that cover the little 1/4 inch squares that you have. So I cut 4 of those, and they're 8 1/4 by 3/8 because that area is 1/4. So we're going to lay those in there. And then this other piece that I cut is going to go on the legal pad. And we'll put that on in a minute, but you will cut one of these, and that'll be at 4 3/4 by 3/4. And then when you cut the 3/4, don't do the full 3/4, just make it less 1/16. And then that's going to fit on your legal pad. And we'll put that on there in a second. So I'm just going to put these on here. This is the inside of our folio, and I'm just running just a single strip of glue right down the middle. Doing that on both sides. Thanks. Kind of straight. And then I'm using the bright yellow side. And I'm just setting that there and putting it in the middle of that strip. There we go. And then I'll hold that in place. And I'll put another one over here. Right down the middle. There we go. And then I'm going to flip it over. This is the outside of our folio. I'm going to do the same thing. Because this will show. We want to make sure it's covered. There. And then this one over here. When you're cutting this little strip, remember that 3/8 is just short of the 1/4 of an inch, so it's just that first little 1/16. So I'll put this on here. Oops. I pulled on him. There it goes. Staying inside the line. Makes a nice little contrast. Don't want to get boring. Put that on here. And that's good. Whoops. There we go. Okay. So, have this down, and I forgot to put the magnets on. Grr, which I always do, so I'm going to have to peel this up a little bit because we want to put the magnets on. So this is the front, and you're going to drop a magnet there. And I think I lost my magnet in my confetti here. So I'm going to go in about not an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. about a finger's length. And I'm going to just drop that there. And I think my magnet got brushed away when I had all that confetti coming out. Oh my. Okay. Well, don't know where that other magnet went. So I'm going to improvise and I'm going to fix it later. So I'm just going to lay that back down. Oh, let me show you how I would have done it. What I would have done before I had that on there is just lay this over, because I would put the magnet on here and lay that over there, and then it would be stuck here. So I am so sorry, I messed up big time. So I'm just going to leave that now, and then we can continue on. That little magnet shows up, we'll put it on there. But I'm pretty sure he's lost over here with all that confetti. Okay, well, we'll just continue on. Too bad. Okay, so I'm going to cover that magnet with a little 1/4-inch strip of tape, just to hold it in place. Like that. And then over the top of it, we're going to put our cover. So you're going to cut 2 pieces for the cover, one for the front, one for the back, 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. And that's going to go centered right on here. I'm going to put that on with my tape. And just a little strip in the middle just to help hold it in place. And then I'm just going to center that. Stand up, make sure I get it in the middle. Come on. Hard to have blue on blue. There we go. Burnish that down. A little extra around the magnet there. Okay. And then while I have this out, I'm going to put the back on at the same time. Okay, and then I'll just center that. This is actually helping to hold down that flap that we put the extra little piece of tape on. Alright, so there's your back, and here's your front. Now we're going to go ahead and put the legal pad in. So we're going to put a little holding piece in the center here. So from another pattern piece of paper, you're going to cut a piece that is 6 3/4. Let's go this way. 6 3/4 by 8 1/2. And then with this 6 3/4 piece at the top, let's see, oh, that's right, you have to score. All right, so you had to score with the 6 3/4 at the top, you have to score at 6 1/4, and then rotate it all the way and score at 6 1/4 again, so that you have a score line on each side. Now, for the bottom, you just score at 1/2, because that's going to be the bottom piece that holds your pad in place. So this will be sitting in here. We're going to score those lines, fold them over. And then up here, so that the pad will slide in, I just notched this. I just clipped off, go down about 1/2 inch and just clip it off on each side. You won't see it because you stop at that score line. And this piece is the bottom where the 1/2 inch is, and that's going to fold up like this. So to get these nice little corners, I did a little meter on it. So I just cut, not on where the little X is where your fold lines meet, but just about a 1/16 away from it. I just snipped it off. And the same over here, I just snipped it off. That way when you fold these, this is the bottom piece. I'm going to put glue down the side here. On both sides. I'm gluing the sides down first because I want them inside that bottom 1/2 inch, so that your cardboard that holds your writing pad will go down smooth. So I'm going to, those will be like that, flat, and then the bottom 1/2 inch one, I'm going to glue going up. And you'll see how that gives it a nice little metered edge. I keep looking for that magnet, but I just don't see that anywhere. Maybe it'll show up before we get done. Wouldn't that be good? Then I can undo my error. So just glue that down. And then put some more on the top. Get those corners. And then it just lays in the center of this section. I'll put it right about there. Did I have that all the way up? Nope, all the way down. Don't center it. Put it on the bottom edge. Inside your 2 score lines on the side. There we go. And finish that glue real good. Okay, now that other little piece that we had cut when we did our 3/8 edges, this is the piece that we cut, and it's going to go up here. So I'm just putting it in there, eyeballing it so that it covers that pad and then matches the other 2 sides. So I'm just going to glue that down. You don't have to add this piece on. You can leave your pad as it is. Kind of your choice. I just thought it would tie it in better. I'll put that on there. Okay, and then I'm going to open this up and slide that right in there. Like that. All the way down. And sometimes you gotta coach these pieces up here, some space there, so we can get this to come all the way down. There we go, because you don't want that sticking out the top. All right, move that over a little bit. Okay, there we go, now he's in. All right. Then we've got two pieces of paper to put over here. I'm going to cut one that is 8 1/4 by 2 3/4, and that's going to go right in here. And then you're going to cut another piece that matches your flap that is 8 1/4 by 2 3/4 also. So I'm just going to use my tape runner to put those down. And this one goes on the outside. Put it in the center. And then another piece. And that goes in here. Alrighty, so there you have it. This is your folio. And I am so sorry about forgetting to put that magnet in there. And I keep looking through my stuff here to see where he's at. And you know he's probably stuck to something metal. And I'm checking my scissors and everything. But be sure when you do yours that you put your magnet here, and then before you lay this one on, you put your other magnet in so that you can fold it over. And I will find my magnet and repair that so my folio will look just perfect. Nobody will know. If you don't tell, I won't tell. Okay, now the other thing that we're going to do is, I had changed my ephemera. So what I'm going to be doing is, this I found on a site, I can't remember the name of it because I wasn't even looking for it, but it had these darling little blue steampunk birds, and I thought, wow, that's got to do something with that. So I've cut a bunch of these, and I'm going to be putting these along here. Look at those little stars. They've got little flowers in there. How cute is that? And then I've got some hearts. And those are going to be going, where am I going to put those? I'm going to put those in here somewhere. I think those would be cute. Hearts, and put them up here. So whatever ephemera you use, here's another guy that I thought was kind of cute, little chess player. I got more hearts. And you know how you like to fiddle around. I'm not going to take up more of your time by decorating that. The idea was for you to learn how to make the folio itself, which you have done. So now I'm going to show you how to do these little tags. Oh, watch, see how nice that works if you have the magnet. It just takes it on perfect. We're going to make these little tags. I'll just make one to show you how to do it. And I'll put this over here, out of my way, and I will decorate that later. So to do these tags, you're going to cut two that are 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. Put that there and put that over here for later. And then you're going to do a contrast color, 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. That goes on the back. And then you'll cut out of the darker color, just cut one square that's 2 3/4, and then cut it diagonally, because that's going to go over here in the corner, like that. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that on now, because I know where that's going to be. Just takes a single line, and I'll put that here. And that's going to be a good place for one of my flowers. Look at that. I'm going to stick a flower on there. And I'm just going to attach that with pop-ups. I'll put a pop-up on there. Yeah, I like that. Okay. And then this one is going to get attached to the other color. And right like that. And flip them over. Now I'm going to use that crocodile again, making sure I've got the right side. No, no magnet. I thought maybe the magnet attached to this. Okay, I'm going to do that on the top. And just slide that in there. And this one also. Isn't that cute? And then the middle, this is just a standard hole punch. I'm going to punch a hole in the center, and just to finish it off, I'm going to thread some, it's called eyelash lace, eyelash yarn, and I cut 3 strips of different colors. I got black, white, and blue, and put those right there. And I'm going to string those in there by this process. I fold that over, and inside that loop, this is just a strip of string that I'm just going to use as a tool, like that, to thread through that hole punch. And this is probably going to be my front, so I'll go through here, pull it through, keeping the bulk of it here between my fingers. And what I want to do is I want to be able to put these 2 fingers in that loop, come over and grab the threads on the top and just pull them through, like that. And it makes nice, snug little, almost a knot. And then I'm going to clip off because that looks like a bit much. Okay. And then after I decorate my folio. I'll make 2 of these and they'll just slide in here. Right, like that. How fun is that? Okay. So, forgive me for my magnet mess up. I will fix it and then I will have a beautiful legal pad folio with a magnet that works just like that. Thanks a bunch, guys. Take care.